All right, I'm going to be honest. I don't know what I'm going to name this video. I think I'm going to name it NBA players that should stop shooting. Ultimately, I have to come up with the name that's going to get people to click it. What did I do? I looked at players that played a lot, got a lot of minutes, shot the ball a lot, and don't have really good shooting percentages. Then I also, because I thought about making it, if they're good at defense, I forgave them a little bit. That's what I decided to do. If they're good at defense, I'm going to let it slide if they had a bad shooting percentage. Because some guys did. I don't remember exactly who, but I couldn't put them on this list because they were playing defense pretty well. So I didn't want to go super bad on them. So most of these guys, either they have atrocious shooting percentages and they're not particularly great defenders, or they just they're just terrible. They need to stop shooting. They're just way too much volume. So KCP is on this list, and I was watching the Magic game today. I was watching the Magic Knicks game. Just ended right now. It just did. And I wanted to see what is up with KCP. Why is he not shooting very well? He's shooting 29.8% from three. Last year he was 40% from three. He's not involved in the offense. Even now, Franz and Paolo aren't playing, and he's still not involved in the offense. If you watch, they don't really swing the ball to the wings. So he is playing great defense, though. His defensive rating is really high. Obviously, if a team has a good defense, like the Orlando Magic do, they got a bunch of big dudes that play really well on defense, it's going to bring the whole team's defense up. So KCP is going to have a great defensive rating, but he's also getting 1.7 steals a game. That's a lot of steals. So he is a great defender, but he still makes this list because, man, his shooting percentages are really bad. Is he worth the money? 22 million? I think so. I think it's like 22 million. And his plus minus is 2.9. He's still good. He's still a good player. So I think you need to, you can't look at box scores. You can't look at guys' averages. I think that's when you get in trouble. When you want to evaluate a person and you want to judge them by their stats and say, hey, whatever these stats are, that is how valuable they are. Don't look at the wins. Don't look at the losses. Don't look at the plus minus. Don't look at the advanced stats. Don't watch them play. Just make a judgment. But I will say, should he shoot more? He's only shooting 4.8 attempts a game from three. I want to say he should shoot more, but he's not shooting very well. KCP needs to be open. That's the problem. So he's not open. His 2-point percentage is pretty good, and he's just not scoring a lot. That's the problem with KCP. So I'm kind of going against what I'm already probably naming the video, which is guys who should stop shooting. I think, oh man, should KCP just stop shooting and focus on defense? Is the problem with the Magic not that they can't shoot threes, is the problem that they can't get open for threes? Magic fans, holler at me. I think the same thing sort of happened to DiVincenzo. He's not getting enough space to be the flamethrower that he was. He wasn't even really a flamethrower with the Knicks, but he shot well enough to be that sixth man. And he's a pretty decent defender too. I didn't know that. I didn't know he was a defensive-minded player. But apparently teams are trying to trade for him. You know who's trying to trade for him? I don't know if someone's trying to trade for him. This is something I read. This was a trade proposal. What do you think of Jay Huff and Luke Kennard and a second rounder for Donte DiVincenzo? This is allegedly that the Grizzlies want Donte DiVincenzo. Would they be? Who says no? Jay Huff's impressed me a lot. Again, I don't even care about his stats. When I've watched him, I'm like, dude, who is this guy? Where did he come from? I forget where he came from. I'd never seen him play before this year, or he never really made an impression until this year. And Luke Kennard he can shoot. I'm a Clipper. I haven't been to a Clippers game this year, but I go to a lot of Clippers games, and Kennard could shoot, but that was about it. So who says no? Tell me that. Doesn't get the ball enough, doesn't get enough usage. He's just not shooting well from three. 32% from three isn't enough. Defensive rating, good. Field goal percentage, 35.2, pretty bad. That's his field goal percentage. That's threes and twos. His twos, but yeah, he's shooting a lot of threes. Those are most of his shots, and they're not going in. I think, who is talking about? Austin Rivers. Man, I would listen to that podcast a lot, don't I? But Austin Rivers was saying, yeah, they're trying to trade him. They're trying to get rid of him. That's what they're trying to do. He's not long for that team. But I always think this. They say, oh, we got to trade guys like Kevin Huerter. Like, we got to trade him. Oh, yeah, we got to get him out of here. We're trying to trade him, get his stock up. And I think this, and they say, whoa, he's going to get traded. Like, yeah, but how's he going to get traded if he's not playing well? Isn't the same reason that you want to trade him the same reason other teams wouldn't want to trade for him? You know, it's not like, oh, we're trying to get rid of him because he's not good. And other teams are like, yeah, we'll take that not good player, that player that's been disappointing you, that you can't wait to get off your team. So good luck getting rid of Donte DiVincenzo. Unless you think, unless the Grizzlies say, hey, we think he'd be great here. We know he's not playing very well on your team, but if he came to our team, suddenly he'd provide value. I don't know. Maybe that's how they think. Maybe people that watch more basketball games than I do know how the pieces fit together. Is my head getting cut off? Kevin Huerter, speaking of which, I didn't realize he was the next slide, but I was actually at a Kings game. I was at the Kings game on Monday. Wow, that was only Monday. Today's Sunday. A week ago. I saw it was on Sunday. It was a week ago from today. I'm recording on Sunday. I saw the Jazz Kings, and the Jazz were bad. They got blown out. Doug McDermott shot 7 threes. He made 7 threes in a row, and he missed his 8th one. He lit the beam. It was exciting. Go to a Kings game. It's fun. By yourself. Alone. I enjoyed it. So, I need to look at my notes more. 2 years ago, he shot 40% from 3. Last year, 36%. This year, he's 31% from 3. He's also starting less because he's been so streaky. I'm concerned for him because I do like him. But his shooting percentages are going down. 31.1% from 3. Here's the thing. If you're the Kevin Huerter archetype of player, how's that? How's that for, the Kevin Huerter archetype, you need to be at 37% from 3, at least. And then the Kings' defensive rating, he's not Donte DiVincenzo on the defensive end. So, yeah, value is really low. He does get 1.1 steals. That's something. And the free throw percentage is 70.6. Again, if you're the Kevin Huerter archetype, it's got to be higher. Because what you do is shoot. Only 9.9 points a game. How many attempts does he have? 5.9. He's coming off the bench now. Remember, like I said, he was starting for the Kings. I think so when I went to the game, Malik Monk was starting instead, who was not the 6th man of the year, but was he the 6th man of the year 2 years ago? How quickly I forget. But Malik Monk is not a 6th man anymore. He's now starting for Kevin Huerter, and that team isn't good. I think we have another King on this. Yeah, we do. Zaccharie Risacher. I had to put him on here, but I love Zaccharie Risacher. I think he is a great player. I think he is very talented. He's just a rookie. He's just young. He's just unpolished. That's the problem. So I don't put him on this list to make fun of him, to disparage him. I actually think he's playing really well for a rookie. His shooting percentages are trash. His defensive rating is trash. But it's the Hawks. The Hawks are the Pacers of last year. They just want to score and not play a lot of defense. But this team is still, I think they're the 7th in the East right now. They, they made it to the NBA Cup semifinals. Not bad. So my point being, this guy is getting 24 minutes a game and he's starting on the Hawks. And he is in the offense. He's getting 11.2 points per game. He just can't shoot. That's the problem. He's just not a good shooter. Can't shoot a free throw, can't shoot a 3, can't shoot a 2. That's the problem. But he's going to be good. And he's getting the reps, I guess is what I'm saying. Shoot. The coach of the Hawks, what's his name? Colin Snyder? Quinn Snyder. There it is. Isn't it funny how your brain works? It takes different pieces, associations. Like I said Colin, I said Snyder, and it turned into Quinn Snyder because those were things that are connected in my brain. So I think Quinn Snyder says, hey, I think this guy's going to be good. He's a part of the team. And if I don't get him out there, if I don't say, hey, listen, Zaccharie Risacher, we want you to be good. And we want you to be a talented player. And we think you got potential. And we got confidence in you. Get your ass out there and brick some shots. Okay, LaMelo is such a polarizing player for me. Polarizing in my head. I go back and forth. I'm like bipolar with LaMelo. Is he the best player to watch in the NBA? Him or Trae Young? I think they're both pretty close. I definitely think he's one of the most talented offensive players in the league. And I think if people were to watch him, I think Trae Young does get wins. He's he's done really well in the NBA. I think he's had a really great career in the NBA. LaMelo Ball has not, and he's very injury prone. This is a problem. I don't think it gets talked about enough. I think the Pelicans, so let's compare him to Zion. Zion, I think there are high expectations because the Pelicans are better and they've had higher peaks. And there is a team around Zion that would make you believe this team is supposed to be good. They're not supposed to be trash. But with the Hornets, I think since he's been there, there's always been this sort of, this is a bad team. It never had potential. So no one really expects it to be good. And LaMelo is on this team, so no one ever expects LaMelo to be a winner. And so it is weird. It's like this is a really talented offensive player, but does he play winning basketball? No, he plays like losing basketball. And I don't say that to say he's not good or the type of basketball he plays is just inherently going to lose games. I'm just saying they lose a lot and he's hurt a lot. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about chucking the ball. I forgot. So 35.6 from three, which isn't terrible. His field goal percentage is really bad, though, 43.0%. It's just not good. And he does like a lot of threes, 13.1. He leads the leagues. I got to slow down. He leads the league in three-point attempts right now with 13.1. And I don't think it's working. I don't think it works for the Hornets. So I don't know. It just kind of was a bummer. I like him, and I don't ever see him. Like, what if he never makes a? What if he's the Brandon Marshall of the NBA? You know, Brandon Marshall never played in a playoff game. So depressing. It's so depressing. So I think he's supposed to be. Someone said he's supposed to be back tomorrow or today. If you're watching this video on Monday, to play the Sixers, I would love to see him come back. And then I think Embiid is. I think Embiid's hurt. I think he hurt his hand or something, so he's not playing tomorrow. Oh man, I love it. I'm not a good person. I love watching the Sixers lose games. I listen to the Rice to Ricky Sanchez podcast to listen to Spike and I forget the other guy's name talk about the Sixers and lament the losses because it's interesting to me. I don't know. I like those guys on that podcast. I also like the broadcasters. The broadcasters are such homers. Listening to the Philadelphia Sports Network, listening to their play-by-play people and their color commentary, they're such homers, and I love watching them lose. And they're great. They're great broadcasters, but they're victims. They're just everything is like, yeah, it's just not going the Sixers' way. Not getting any calls tonight. It's unbelievable. It's incredible. So I love listening to it. It's just awesome. It's good. They're good broadcasters, like I said. Let the broadcasters just be homers. I don't care. Just let them be like, obviously, the home team's broadcast is going to want the home team to win. You know, who cares? 31.1 points a game for LaMelo. It's a lot of points, though. He has to be up there leading the league. I think he's already missed. I mean, he's coming up. He probably won't be eligible for any NBA awards because he'll probably miss too much time. Keegan Murray, again, sort of in the Kevin Huerter space. He's been disappointing. Interestingly enough, look at this tweet. That was from less than a year ago. I believe today's the 15th. Luigi Mangiani tweeted Keegan Murray less than a year ago. I'm following that case. I just thought it was interesting, so I threw it in the slide. But yeah, Keegan Murray, I think he had his best shooting season his rookie year, and it's gone down every single year. So Kings fans are pretty upset about that. Again, though, they do love him. When I was at the Kings Stadium, they do love him. They do Keegan, and then the whole crowd yells Murray back. Kings fans rock with their team. That's why I kind of feel bad for them. The West is too good. It's unfortunate. There's only 3 teams in the West that are not trying to win. Everyone else is in contention. So that's, which I like. You want parity in the league. You want every team to believe that they can win. I hate it when teams tank, but I guess it's the circle of life in the NBA. So, yeah. Oh, Zion. My cat's being annoying. So Zion has played less minutes than Keegan Murray. Zion was drafted in 2019. Keegan Murray was drafted in 2022. I like shitting on Zion. I do. Anyone that signs a giant contract, here's the thing, as sports fans, anyone that signs a giant contract and then doesn't play is sitting on the bench. One of the pleasures of being a sports fan is we get to make fun of them. You sign a giant contract, you take all this money, there are some crazy expectations of you. And when you don't meet the expectations, we get to take joy in the misfortune of your injury and say, man, this guy, he's not, it's just something we get to do. It's our pleasure. And it says nothing about Zion Williamson, him being a good or bad person. It's just something fun to talk about. So maybe I'll do it again later. Jalen Green is interesting because remember he got that, so I forget exactly what his deal was. I think it's a player option at the end or a team option. I'm not sure, but it was basically they signed him to trade him. They extended him for a pretty decent amount of money, but it was a very tradable contract. And I think it's a team option at the end, if I remember. So everyone's talking about trading Jalen Green. He's a high volume shooter. And I just don't think a lot of teams want high volume shooters. They would just settle for a wing. A wing that's 3-and-D, can shoot. Getting 15 points a game on a good night, but shooting 40% is kind of what teams want. They don't want Jalen Green, who gets 19.2 points per game, but shooting 32.1% from 3 on 7.7 attempts. It's just, there's only one ball. That's the sad thing about basketball. There's only one ball to go around, and if you need a high volume guy, you're going to want a guy that has a better shooting percentage. I don't think anyone's interested in Jalen Green. I'm not saying they shouldn't be, so I don't think he is getting traded. And he is getting points on a good team, so I think you can't criticize him too much. He does turn the ball over a bit. Field goal percentage is pretty bad. It should be over 40, even over, I don't know, less than 45. I'm kind of like, depending on your position, if you're a guard, which he is, so just not great. And then his defensive rating isn't bad, and he does steal the ball a bit. He's on a good defensive team, so kind of a wash. Definitely just should be shooting less, be more judicious with his shots, better shot selection. Yeah, this is the ultimate guy. He should just be shooting less and passing more. 2.6 assists. Yeah, just needs to adjust his game, because he's not getting traded. Tyrese Haliburton, here's the thing, I think he came out and said, like, yeah, I'm just not feeling like myself, not playing very well. Of course not. What if he said, actually, last year I didn't really feel like myself. I'm feeling more like myself this year, because I'm not very good. Last year was a total anomaly. I don't know what got into me, but I just couldn't quit. I just got on fire last year. This feels a little more like who I am. No, of course not. He says, this is not who I am. I'm actually really good. But his percentages aren't that far down. He's scoring a little bit less. Gets a few less assists. I have it in my notes. What do I got? Yeah, but he's another high volume shooter, shooting 8.4 threes a game. He killed it against Philly. Shot 7 for 15 from 3. I think he had 32 points or something. So, but his stats aren't that much different than last year. The Pacers are just losing. So you look a little more at guys' stats and say, what's going on here? Why are we losing so much? Oh, Tyrese Haliburton, shooting percentage is down. It's his fault. He's why we're losing. It's not. I think this team's going to be good. They got Nembhard was gone. I think Mathurin was gone. Two of those guys that are really good on defense were gone for a bit, but they're both back. So this team won today. They beat the... Who are they playing today? I forget. Man, how quickly I forget. Who are they playing? I don't remember. But they won today. And Haliburton shot 4 for 8 from 3. Haliburton also having less turnovers this year. So, we can move on. Harden. James Harden is free throw percentage. It should be green. I don't know why I made it red. That's an awesome free throw percentage. I think I'm tired, so I made it. And he's getting a lot of steals. His three-point percentage, brutal. 33.8. Stop shooting, James. Stop shooting 8.4 threes a game. It's way too many. It's as many as Tyrese Haliburton. They're the same. They're just about the same, aren't they? But his field goal percentage is really bad, 37.9%. He is not shooting very well, but he's still a very valuable player. He still gets a lot of points, 21.6. Norm Powell is the leading scorer, though, on the Clippers. I thought you guys might be interested. I think Norm Powell is getting 23.6 points per game. Harden's 21.6. So I do think James Harden is actually a very valuable player on this team. He actually has a better plus-minus than Norman Powell because he does get a lot of assists. He is the point guard. He's just not shooting well. Could that change? Maybe. He just needs to shoot less. Again, another guy that fits the bill really well on this list. So, do I have anything else on him? Clippers are good. I don't think they have their pick this year, so they're just trying. They're just trying to be really good. Apparently, Kawhi has been in tears because he can't play. He feels so, torn up about not being able to contribute that he's crying, which makes me feel good that he's not that he's distraught, but that he cares. It's nice to see a player be passionate about it and not feel good about disappointing Clippers fans who don't exist. No one's a Clippers fan. I live in LA. No one's a Clippers fan. My friend Jason is, but I think he just he's more of a soccer fan. He's more of a football fan. He's like, yeah, I like Clippers. I've never seen him wear a Clippers shirt, so that tells you something, or any sort of merchandise. So, all right, Trae is having his career high in assists. He's getting a lot of assists, 12.2. I think last year was his next highest. It was 10 something. So he is getting a lot of assists, and his points are down by 5. His points per game are down by 5 points. He's not, 3-point percentage is 30.8. He's in Risacher territory. He's in Risacher territory, man. He is, and then of course defensive rating is really bad too. The Hawks are not playing defense, but they're still decent. His field goal percentage is it worse than Harden's? No, it's not worse than Harden's though. So he just needs to shoot less. Again, he fits the bill. 1.3 steals. These guys are getting steals, but I really don't think steals have to do with defense. I think you just sort of occasionally get a steal if you're a point of attack defender. Just because I put him on here because I think it does matter because it is defense. You took the ball and now you're on offense. I got to give you credit for it, but getting a lot of steals, if you look at defensive rating and steals per game, they don't match up. So draw your own conclusion there. But I think we're sort of seeing the Hardenification of Trae Young. You know how Harden just sort of became a point guard? Just a guy that got tons of assists and wasn't doing loads of step backs like Trae does. So I think the Hawks are saying, we're going to go with Jalen Johnson on this. We like him. We like his size. We like what he can do on the wing. We like what he can do in the dunker spot. We're going to go with him. Trae, if you could just get a lot of assists and facilitate, that'd be great. And I think they should do that more. I think Trae should just stop shooting as much. Because remember that one season? I don't think it was last year, but Trae had surgery. He had surgery after the trade deadline, and then the Hawks came and played in the play-in, and I believe they made it out of the play-in because Trae came back. But they were still good without Trae. But it's a huge contract. He's on a massive contract. He's one of the guys. Once you're in those $50 million contracts, there are only a few guys that teams are going to trade for. Because I think depth is the new trend. Having a guy that no superstar is going to save your team. And there are guys that are getting paid like superstars, but they're not worth the money, unfortunately. They kind of make sense on the team that signed them. Just because they could go over the salary cap, they might as well. The guy was going to demand it, so they do it. And they're younger, but Trae Young, no one wants. I don't know what his contract is, but I know it's really expensive, and no one's going to trade a bunch of depth for it. So people are talking about the Lakers, but people have been talking about the Lakers for a while. Again, if the Lakers did trade for him, the Lakers are still not going to be good. You'd have to throw a bunch of salaries and then whatever that, I think they have one first-round pick to trade. It's just not happening. And even if it did happen, it wouldn't be good for them. But again, the Lakers don't like good ideas, so it could happen. I'm not sure. But those are the guys that need to shoot less, maybe play a little more defense. Thank you for being here. Be good to your mothers. Eat a corn dog.